All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get this thing started. We are 1 hour away from the David Goggins 4x4x48 challenge for 2022. This is my second year taking on the challenge, so I'm hopeful that the folks joining are also joining me in this challenge. I know a lot of people reached out that they would be participating as well. Some of them for the first time, some of them have done this plenty of times in the past, so very, very much looking forward to hearing everyone's experiences, what their expectations are, what their hopes are, what their goals are, etc. For myself, like I said, this is my second year doing the challenge. I did it back in 2020 over the summer, took off in 2021, but am back again. And this is the first time I'm doing it as part of like the official national or worldwide challenge, starting at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific time, the official start time, David Goggins' official start time for the challenge. So I will be wrapping up probably around like 7:30, 7:40 on Sunday evening. So at this point, just excited to get underway. I started midday the last time I did it. I think I started at noon, if I'm not mistaken, which was obviously much easier starting wise. I was very awake, plenty of energy, but I remember just dragging by the end of the challenge because the second overnight was right at the tail end of the 48 hours, and I was just mentally destroyed by that point. I was so tired. So I'm hoping that it goes better this year. I think although starting at night, I'm much more tired now than I was expecting to be, just from working and everything like that. Usually I'm asleep by like 9 o'clock on most nights, up by like 5 o'clock in the morning. So well past my bedtime at this point, but I do think it's going to be much easier to start overnight when I kind of have this energy, get somewhat of a decent night's sleep, hopefully tonight. And then the second night, tomorrow night, will still be early enough in the challenge that I don't think I'll be dragging as much as I did. But I see folks are starting to jump on. So if you are participating in the challenge this year in the David Goggins 4x4x48, let me know in the chat who's here, who's participating in the challenge, what your goals are for the year, what your hopes are for the challenge. If you have any concerns or anything like that, I am just very excited to get underway. As far as strategy for myself, I don't know. I know a lot of people have watched that video I put out last year just about some tips. I think the biggest thing that I remember from doing it in the past is just how important it is to try to bank sleep and how to try to get ahead of your sleep early on. You're going to fall behind no matter what, but I waited until I think it was after like my first evening run the first year. And so if I started at noon, so I ran a midnight run, and so I don't think I fell asleep until after that first midnight run, and then I just remember waking up for the 4 a.m. run after that, being so exhausted, and then feeling like I just couldn't recover at that point. I was just having a really hard time, having gone so long without sleep, and then trying to recover and wake up and go through that run. So goal for this year is going to be to try to bank sleep earlier, just try to take advantage of all of those downtimes as much as possible. And then, of course, staying on top of fuel, hydration, all that stuff. I've got plenty of fuel. My go-to that I learned the last time I took this on is Kodiak cakes are a favorite of mine. I got a handful of different flavors to try out. We have blueberry maple. These are the flapjacks, the Kodiak cake flapjacks. These I just think are such a phenomenal, or they just come in handy so much during the challenge because they're so easy to prepare. They just take a minute in the microwave and they're relatively high in calories, so you don't have to put a lot of thought into it. I got a bunch of different flavors of those. When I'm really on the go, I have new gels I'm trying. I know you're not supposed to try anything new like during a race, but I have a marathon coming up in April, and this is the sponsor for the marathon. It's these Huma, I think is how it's pronounced, or Huma with a little accent gels. They're like real food chia energy gels, so interested to give those a try. I figured this would be a nice test run to see what flavors I like before the race coming up in April. But I have a handful of those. I've got blueberry, cafe mocha, so I have some caffeine in there, which I think will be helpful. Mango, I'm not thrilled about, but I don't think I want to use this during like actual training runs, so I figured now would be a nice way to try it. What's the last one? Raspberry is a caffeinated one as well. So plenty of fuel. In terms of food, so like I said, Kodiak cakes when I'm looking for something quick. I thrive off of just quesadillas, egg burritos, things like that. Just simple, high carbs, some protein, and then for whatever reason, I found that cheese just sits really well digestion-wise for me. So I load up on just plain cheese quesadillas during these runs. Plenty of noon for hydration. What else do I have in my bag of goodies? Pickles for electrolytes. sounds weird, but anytime that I'm like after an exhausted run, especially if it's hot out, I know we're in the middle of winter, so that's not necessarily a factor, but just ice cold, delicious pickles. I don't know what it is. I learned it during the Bandera 100K. They just satisfy like a hunger and thirst that I've never had before. So very excited to have those. I see Brandon Kerr is tuning in. I think you had commented that you did the challenge in the past as well. You said, I think it was you who commented, said that you kind of delayed some of the final runs, but you did officially make it through. So congratulations. I would encourage you to take it on again. I just think I've said it in the past. I think my favorite thing about the challenge is that it's so approachable from a physical standpoint. The 4 miles don't seem all that overbearing at the start. It's just 4 miles, and you have 4 hours to do it, so you could walk it and get it done. But it becomes so much more challenging mentally because of just the 48-hour period and breaking it up into those small intervals. It's just so hard to convince yourself to keep going when you're exhausted, when your legs start to stiffen up and everything. And so that's what I appreciate so much, or what I like so much about the challenge, is it's brutal during the thing, but by the time you finish, it's this massive sense of accomplishment. It's not like a race. There's not a ton of outside factors motivating you. It's purely just up to you to keep pushing, keep going, keep moving forward. And so just looking forward to seeing how that goes this year. If you watch my intro video for one of the things I'm hoping to get out of this year's challenge, I'm taking on or attempting another 100-miler. This will be my second attempt at the Mohican 100-miler. My buddy and I went and ran that last year. Unfortunately, we called it quits about a little past the halfway point in that race. He was falling apart just hydration and nutrition wise, was having a real hard time, and just uncontrollable leg spasms. They ended up actually putting him on an IV when we got back to the finish line, just to try to rapidly replenish his fluids and his electrolytes. And I was just beaten down, especially seeing how bad of shape he was in. Mentally, I was just like, I cannot picture going through this on my own, another 50 miles, and just the death march, the zombie march for the remaining 50 miles, especially approaching night. So that was a brutal loss mentally. So I am hoping that this Goggins challenge will be sort of an investment in that mental toughness, that mental strength, to hopefully keep me pushing forward and keep pursuing. Hopefully during that 100-miler, maybe I can make it a little bit further this year. So we will see. Other goals for this year, I would say possibly maybe negative splits, not positive how much of a possibility that will be, but I'm going to just plan to start nice and easy. And I don't know if I'll try to increase speed with every single run, but mostly just looking for maybe the second half to be a little bit quicker than the first half. If I'm remembering correctly, the last time I did this, it was about, I think I averaged like an 8.5-minute mile throughout the entire run, and so I think I'm going to try to just shoot to do something similar this year, but we'll see. Who knows? There are just so many unknowns, but I think I will probably just keep this video relatively short because I am itching to just get started. I've got to get my running gear on, prepare for the first night. In terms of weather, it's going to be very strange because it's about 30 degrees right now, actual weather. The real feels probably in the 20s. And by the time I finish on Sunday, it is going to be close to 70 degrees. So we are having a rapid temperature increase. And it also looks like there's going to be a decent amount of inclement weather in the forecast. Plenty of rain headed this way, although that keeps kind of fluctuating a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see if it holds up. I've brought things for all weather, so short sleeve, long sleeve, tights, shorts, rain jacket, pullovers for cold. So basically just kind of waiting to see what happens and what I'm going to need, but hopefully prepared for whatever Mother Nature is going to throw at us. But again, that's just part of the fun of the challenge, is encountering the unknowns and just the live problem solving that you have to do in the moment when things start to fall apart, to kind of pull the pieces back together and again, just keep moving forward. 4 miles at a time. So again, it's 4 miles every 4 hours for the next 48 hours. So my legs are going to start in 50 minutes at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the official start time for this year's David Goggins Challenge. And so it is going to be 11 p.m., 3 a.m., 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 3 p.m., 7 p.m., 11 p.m., and then we start over all the way until 7 p.m. Sunday night will be the final run. thus completing the 4x4x48 and running a total of 48 miles consecutively over the next 48 hours. And I mean, it just seems so far away at this point, but I feel like the first intervals especially go by so quickly, and it's just every 4 hours you're a little bit closer, one step closer. I see some more folks jumping on. So again, I've said before throughout the video, but if you're participating in the challenge, let me know in the chat. Love to see who else is taking it on this year. We are getting close, under 50 minutes or under an hour away before the official start of the challenge. I am looking very much forward to getting started this year. I am actually, you may have noticed if you've watched some of my videos before, a new backdrop. We are staying with my in-laws for the weekend. My wife and I live pretty close to New York City, and the area we live in just wasn't super comfortable about running overnight in those areas, trying to problem solve, figure out a way around that, and ultimately we decided to just come out a little bit further away from the city, the neighborhoods where I did the challenge back in 2020, so I know the area. I'm more comfortable with the running routes around here, and just looking forward to getting started. Just eager again to get the challenge underway. The 3 a.m. runs, I think, are going to be the most difficult. It's just always eerie to go running out at that time. I think 11 p.m. there'll still be enough people awake driving around and things like that, but there's just like an eerie silence at 3 a.m. The last time I did it, my intervals were at 4 a.m. And even that, there were a couple people, maybe like I'd see one or two on the run who were waking up and going to work or coming home from an overnight shift, who knows. But I think tonight it's just gonna, or I think 3 a.m. is just gonna be even less so movement, and it's just still and silent. It's also the winter this time. Last time I did it was in the summer, so there was a lot more activity going on, people going out to bars and such, and I just think it's gonna be real weird out running at 3 a.m. when just no one else is around. I see Daniel's checking in, getting ready now. Very excited. If you have any goals for yourself for this year, let me know, A, if you've ever participated in the Goggins Challenge before, and B, if you have any goals set for yourself for this year to take on. We got someone on run number 2. For safety, yeah, definitely important to stay safe. Best of luck, stay hard. And yeah, that's the goal. I mean, it's just the mental toughness is what this challenge is all about. That's what I love about it. Also, the community that it inspires to come out. I think it's so fun seeing how many people take on this challenge for so many different reasons. That's why I love asking, like, why are you taking it on this year? What are your goals for yourself? What are you trying to accomplish? But then also how supportive everyone is of each other's journey through the 48 hours. Because I think people who have done it before and people who are taking it on for the first time, everyone kind of recognizes the difficulty that everyone's going through, the suck that everyone's about to go through, the suffering that we just all have to embrace, and just want to motivate each other to, again, kind of batten down the hatches, commit to what your goals are, and again, just focus on that 4-mile interval every 4 hours, taking it 4 miles at a time, and just slowly progressing through the challenge, piece by piece by piece by piece, until you finally cross that 48-mile finish line. It's also funny, this is my first, normally the live videos I've done in the past are some form of happy hour, like before a race or before a challenge that I'm going to do, but normally the challenge is then either the next day or even a couple days away, so normally I'm enjoying a cocktail as opposed to just pounding water and hydrating, getting ready to go for a run at 11 o'clock at night. But we are about 45 minutes away. So yeah, I mentioned, just goals for myself. I'll see if I mentioned like the mental strength is something that I really want to focus on to hopefully be a little bit more prepared for some of the endurance events that I have coming up in 2022. But again, I have a hard time committing to specific goals for challenges like this because I'm really pushing myself for some race goals coming up in the near future. So immediately on my mind, I've got a road marathon that's sort of my A goal for 2022. As of now, that's April 24th, so about 2 months away, and I really want like a strong personal record at that race. My current PR in the marathon is 3 hours and 44 minutes and 45 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. And so like that, all of my training right now is dedicated towards that. I told my coach when I was thinking about doing the Goggins challenge, I was like, hey, I'm going to throw you a curveball. I want to do this challenge. I'm not going to do anything crazy. I hope it doesn't interrupt training too much. But I can't pass it up. I'm so excited to take this on. But that being said, I also want to make sure that I'm not doing anything in this challenge that's going to jeopardize my goal for the marathon. So not going to be pushing myself for any crazy times, taking it very easy early on, probably trying to speed up a little bit as time goes along, just to see like what if I can break my time, overall time from the last time that I did this from 2020, see what my splits can be, etc. But ultimately, I mean, the point of the challenge is just getting through it. I'm not going to worry about pace or anything too much. And damn, first time doing it, only goal is to be able to walk after it's all done. I feel confident that you will be able to achieve that goal. The first year that I did this, the one thing or one of the memories that is just burned into my brain is or one thing that I'll say real quick before I jump back to the original story is your legs do certainly start to stiffen up, because I find that the 4-hour interval is just enough time for that kind of post-run muscle stiffness to settle in, not fully, but everything is just a little bit tighter, especially after the intervals where maybe you fell asleep afterwards overnight. It doesn't kick in right away. It usually takes a few intervals, but then it's just like they just feel heavy, tired, they're harder to warm up, and so I do remember that. So be prepared for that, and be ready to take that on. That's why I always have my foam roller, different stretching devices, different rolling devices. I am happy that we're at our in-laws because they have a wonderful electronic foot massager that I plan to take full advantage of throughout the next 48 hours. But yeah, just making sure that you're smart with recovery, rolling out the muscles just to try to keep them as loose as possible. They're going to tighten up. It's inevitable, but doing what you can to sort of stave off some of that tightness will help you out a lot in the long run. I especially like doing a little bit of foam rolling before every interval just to kind of warm my legs up a little bit before I actually go out and start running, because I think just going from like lounging on the couch or relaxing right out the door and running doesn't help the stiffness at all. It'll just make it worse after that interval. But the memory I was going to say was after the challenge last year, I think I started or 2 years ago, I think I started on a Thursday. I did it Thursday through Friday into Saturday, and I finished at like 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. Terrible idea, because all you want to do after the challenge is go to sleep. But then everybody, like my wife, just wanted to go over to her parents' house. We had stuff that we wanted to do. We wanted to see people, and I was dead. I was just completely drained. And I think I probably ended up taking a short nap or something like that at her parents'. But the memory that sticks out in my brain is at that night, we went out to their fire pit and we're just having a couple cocktails, and I could not form a coherent thought. And I just remember everyone is sitting around like having a good time, laughing, having conversations, normal weekend activities, and I was sitting and was just hundreds of yards behind my own eyeballs. That's a phrase that I just heard from my friend that I'm definitely stealing because it's the perfect way to describe it, where I was present, but my consciousness was way back here just observing everything and unable to participate. I was completely gone. So looking forward to that again, but also excited that, I guess this will finish at 7 p.m. on Sunday night. So luckily I can finish and actually just go right to sleep. All right, a few more people in the chat. Doing it here in Vietnam, and it will be it will be the second time that I've done it. I will be starting the same time as you, which will be 11 a.m. here in Vietnam. Oh, so 12 hours ahead, so very nice. The boredom is the killer. Yes, something I didn't mention, but I mean something that you have to think about is, especially during the day, what do you do between the 4 hours? Because 4 hours isn't a ton of time. Plus you have to subtract whatever time it takes you to run. However long it's going to take you. Plus if you're going to eat, any of the recovery stuff that you want to do, I like to take a couple showers. So I'm not just a disgusting mess throughout the entire challenge. So all of that eats away at your time. So you have just like an hour or two before then you have to start getting ready for the next run. And so it's just not a ton of time, and it's a lot of just sitting around. And if you don't come up with things to keep yourself busy, you're just going to drive yourself crazy watching the clock and anticipating the next run. So I think last year I downloaded some video games. We watched some movies, just found anything that I could do where I didn't have to put a lot of thought in, because I just wanted my mental energy energy to be focused on the challenge itself. But just finding ways to take my mind off of just sitting, so I wasn't just sitting there like twiddling my thumbs thinking, okay, we've got 20 minutes until the run, we've got 10 minutes till the run, etc., etc. So find ways that you can handle the boredom. I'm here in the countryside and I run by paddy fields and animals and a nice breeze, easy running. That sounds lovely. The one downside I will say, or what I was somewhat looking forward to when I was teasing the idea of running where my wife and I live now, we live right on the beach. And I just thought, I mean, it would be beautiful overnight to just be running down the boardwalk in like the peaceful silence with nothing but the ocean. But again, just the area that it's in, not super safe. So although that would have been lovely and serene and a beautiful way to spend the evenings, I feel like I would be on edge the entire run, just constantly looking over my shoulder. There's also tons of stray cats in that area that come sneaking out from under the boardwalk, so I would be incredibly jumpy looking out for all the cats trying to attack me while I'm running by. And yeah, doing it on your own. I think I am on my own as well. I don't expect to see many folks out. I think I'll probably see plenty of folks out at 11, nobody running, but just people out. But yeah, at 3 a.m. I am expecting to be completely solo with not another soul in sight moving around. And we'll report back on if that's the case. And that's speaking of reporting back, a good thing to mention too, if you want to follow along, obviously, feel free to come back to any of these videos, comment on them. I will be keeping tabs on all of the comments and just responding to people throughout the entire challenge. I've mentioned it once, I'll say it a million times. I love connecting with people during this challenge because although so many of us are taking it on alone and running it by ourselves somewhere, there are so many folks around the world who are embracing the suck with us. And so just love connecting that way. So feel free to comment on here. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, that's where I'll be posting live updates throughout the challenge, every run, after every interval, etc. Just updating you on how things are going. You can follow me at iRunOnBeer if you want to. That's just the easiest way, like I said, for live tracking updates. Of course, later on down the line, I'll post like the video of all of this on YouTube and get all of that out there. But just for the purpose of tracking during the event itself, Instagram will be the best source for live updates, or feel free to comment on any of these videos or anything, and then I'll get back to you and let you know how things are going and check in to hear how your challenges are going as well. Curious to hear for the folks that are watching, if you have like what kind of meals you gravitate towards, what kind of food are you leaning on, what's your fueling plan? Because I feel like that was also something I put a decent amount of thought into the first time, but it's also like the 4 hour or usually like 3 hour interval between runs. It's so tough to find substantial food to replenish calories that you will also be able to digest quick enough that it's not going to upset your stomach on the next run. I tended to go like towards really light stuff, but then I found it wasn't filling me up nearly enough. And so it's hard finding that balance. What's something that's going to replenish enough calories, but that you're also going to be able to digest? So that's why I've got, like I said, the last time I ran it, Kodiak cakes turned out to be a lifesaver. Very quick and relatively calorie dense. I think each one's got like, this one's only 260 calories. I thought they were closer to like 350. But yeah, decent amount of calories in these, and they just take a couple minutes in the microwave. Gels are just quick snacks for me. They're about 100 calories each. So again, if I just need something like before I go to sleep or something like that, before a quick nap, if I just want to get some calories in, and then just a lot of bread, pasta, tortillas, cheese, eggs, things like that. That's the stuff that I have found that I can digest relatively easily and don't have to worry much about digestive distress or anything like that on the run. Drem, first time doing it. I'm running with a friend. We are planning to run with Goggins at Saturday noon in Sacramento. That is incredible. I have to say, I was so jealous when he announced that he was going to be kind of running in all of these different places and trying to do every single interval with another running group. That, I mean, being on the East Coast, I would love to be over there and get to participate in one of the challenges live. So kudos to you, especially for your first time doing it. That's going to be awesome to hopefully get to run with him as well. I mean, that's just going to be an incredible motivation to get through the rest of this challenge. Food prepped, rice, ground turkey, veggies to eat after each run, plus rice, powdered peanut butter, protein cakes. I mean, that's all you need. A lot of, like I said, calorie dense stuff, but stuff that's not a ton of spices, relatively bland. So again, hopefully won't upset your stomach at all. Tons of calories, but easy to digest. And I see Ultra Dad is tuning in as well. Welcome to another live stream. Not doing the challenge. Oh, I thought we might have sold you on it. I think Tim might be participating. He said a while back that he was thinking about it, so I'm hoping he's joining us as well. Not doing the challenge, but I'll look. But I'll think of you on my long run tomorrow. So Ultra Dad also training for his first marathon. If y'all don't follow his YouTube channel, definitely check it out. Interested, very, very excited to have been following along so far in marathon training, but eager to see how it continues to go. So not sure. I think you, per one of your recent YouTube videos, you're looking at like 14, 15 miles this weekend. So you will definitely be embracing some suffering. But yeah, the David Goggins challenge for sure is just another animal. But I was just expressing earlier how I almost didn't do it because I didn't want it to get in the way of formal marathon training, but I just couldn't pass it up. I have so much fun with this, and took off last year, so had to come back again for a second year for take two to see what I can accomplish in this year's challenge. But what time is it? So 10:26. We got about 30 minutes until the first interval. I probably won't keep this going too much longer just because, I mean, I mentioned the nerves a little bit before, just the anticipation and sitting around and waiting to get started. I want to go through my last minute checklists, make sure that I have the gear that I need. I like to get everything ready so that I can be out and kind of do a ceremonial out as the clock hits 11, officially starting the challenge, and then similarly crossing that finish line probably around like 7:30, 7:40 on Sunday evening. It is insane to think that far ahead, but again, it's just 4 miles at a time, focused on the next interval, focus on the one after that, and don't get too far ahead of myself. Just focus on each 4 mile interval and just focus on that in the moment. Go to sleep immediately after for these first few, and then just wake up and do it all over again. And they start to fall off pretty quickly after that. What did my coach say about doing this challenge? Luckily, he also embraces some of the insanity around a lot of endurance challenges. He and I actually participated in a challenge last year called the 4-State Challenge, where you attempt to run through 4 different states in 24 hours. Specifically, it's a leg of the Appalachian Trail that runs. You start in Pennsylvania, you run through Maryland, through West Virginia, and then you end in Virginia. It's a little over 40 miles. I think it's 43 miles total from end to end, but obviously it's on trails through the Appalachian Mountains. That particular stretch of the Appalachian Trail sucks, to put it lightly. It is like it's a lot of up and down. There's virtually no flat ground, but the terrain is just all boulders and rocks and like jagged rocks sticking out of the ground. So no clear, stable footing the entire time. And so he had been talking for a while and was like, hey, neither of us have any races or anything. What do you say about doing this? So he definitely embraces kind of these unique, odd challenges that he looks forward to. And so when I told him that I was thinking about doing this, I think I texted him like a week or two ago. I was like, hey, I know we have this formal marathon training plan, but what do you think about me doing this? He was like, yeah, no worries. We'll work it into training. So just kind of did a little bit of a taper week this week. Nothing too crazy. I'll take a few rest days early next week and then just get right back into marathon training. I expect my legs will be somewhat fatigued for next week's long run, but I'm still hoping I could probably get like a 13 to 15 miler in and then just get right back into regular marathon training. And where did I decide to run at night, Ultra Dad? I am, you may have noticed, we've got a new backdrop here. I am in the basement of my in-laws' house so that I can go outside and run at night. I was teasing if we were going to stay at our apartment closer to the city, I was teasing the idea of either doing Peloton for the overnight portion, since I wouldn't feel safe running overnight, or just running up and down the stairs in our apartment. But we did decide to come out onto Long Island, into a little bit of the suburbs, out of the city, where I'm used to. The road, we used to live right around the corner from here, so know the roads, know the neighborhoods, know where I can run. Although it is definitely still a little eerie for the overnight periods where it's just absolutely no one around and just silent, dark streets. But that's just part of the fun. Just something to look forward to. And I think with that, I am going to go ahead and call it. We're about 30 minutes into the stream, but like I said, I want to finish getting ready, finish organizing the food and stuff that I want to have tonight. Got to do one last check-in with my wife, who will be my phenomenal crew for the challenge. Basically just making sure that I have food when I need it, and also just helping to make sure that, like, when I get home, ready to just jump right in bed, like nothing, no barriers to the challenge, just removing any kind of confusion, some of the logistical stuff, handling that for me so I can just focus on the wake up, run 4 miles, come home, eat, sleep, wake up, repeat. So very much looking forward to the challenge. Thank you to everyone who jumped on this live stream. I had a blast. I hope you did as well. I hope those of you who are taking on the challenge, get after it, embrace the suffering. I know it's a challenge. It seems so far away, the end of those 48 hours, but like I said, just focus on each 4 mile interval, focus on each 4 hour interval, and just take it one at a time. Start crossing them off. I like to take notes after each one because it's fun afterwards to kind of go back and look through how everything went. So I would encourage you to take those notes and take time throughout the challenge to reflect on how it's going, because I think you'll enjoy looking back on that in the future. I know I certainly have, but good luck to everyone. Happy to see so many people taking it on for the first time. I hope you all have a blast as well, and just looking forward to checking in. So like I said, follow me on Instagram for live updates throughout the challenge, or to update me on your progress and anything. You can comment on any Instagram videos, things like that I post, or come back to any of these YouTube videos and comment as well. I'll be checking in throughout the challenge, trying to make up for downtime. Obviously going to need stuff to do, so going to be checking in here plenty of times. But thank you everyone for tuning in, and looking forward to catching up with you after this is all over. But thanks again, and I hope you have an incredible 4x4x48 weekend. Cheers, y'all.